Ignite to Impact.
Hi, and welcome to Ignite to Impact, a podcast that talks about life, leadership, and legacy, helping to inspire positive, meaningful change within ourselves and in others. I'm Dr. Geneva, your host, and we sit down with influencers to find out how they do what they do to make an impact. We talk to people who, from all walks of life, who just give us such great insights and tips and strategies. Today, we're going to learn about how to take action and not get stuck. My guest is Dr. Stacie N.C. Grant, an empowerment specialist as well as an event strategist who's living her divine calling to lead, teach, and inspire. Doesn't that make you want to turn on and listen to her? So we're going to do that because she not only will ignite our learning, but she ignites her audience with her captivating and intoxicating humor and boundless energy. Is that right, Dr. Stacie?
Well, that's what the people tell me.
Yeah, right. What you say? That's what the people say. I love it.
People say, and Dr. Geneva, I am so blessed to be in your presence, and thank you for what you are igniting in the lives of so many people globally with this podcast and these important conversations to let folks know that we get one life to live.
That's
and
right.
If we don't ignite those things in us that have been divinely given to us, we miss out on a huge opportunity to leave a legacy. So I am blessed and honored to be in your presence. And thank you for allowing me an opportunity to be in conversation with you.
Well, thank you. Well, let me tell you, it's like you stepped into my mind and my heart and just really, just articulated the whole reason why I started this podcast several years ago, because I do believe you're right. I believe that it's important for us to develop the capacity more and more to influence, to create, to make those differences. And oftentimes I've found that there are hundreds and hundreds of people all across the country who are making a difference every day. And they're unleashing that influence, and we need to hear their stories. So your story is one that I have been dying to hear and to let our listeners learn about. And, we started off talking about how you ignite your audiences, and that's what people say about you. Well, tell us, why do people say about you that you have this boundless energy and that you're a captivator?
Well, I'm humbled by it, but it's the gift that God gave me to stir up a thing on the inside of those. When I walked into a room, I hit a stage, I started training. It's this message that God has given me to truly be in a space and a place where I can touch something on the inside of you, deep down in your soul, down to your pinky toe, that won't allow you to sit in average, that won't allow you to lay in the valley of procrastination, but will push you in the sound of my voice, my words, and the wisdom that I've been able to amass over the years to truly be in action in spite of the things that are going on in and around you.
Mm-hmm. And you said, Dr. Stacie, that the experience and the wisdom that you've amassed over the years. Share with us about your years. I mean, what's happened? Tell us about your journey.
So the journey has been a series of mistakes and what I call interesting learning curves.
Mm-hmm.
Far from perfect, far from a straight path, far from the ability to say that, I was born with a gold spoon in my mouth and everything was just perfect. And I woke up as that famous little songstress we know, Beyonce, that says, I woke up like this. I didn't quite wake up like this. Uh-huh. It was a journey. It was a series of learning curves that I didn't understand when I was going with it. As an entrepreneur, venturing out into this world of boldly saying that I wanted to start a business. I wanted to be in business. I knew that deep down inside I wasn't going to last working for somebody for the rest of my life, but didn't exactly know what is going on with the behind-the-scenes growth that you have to go through to develop and create platforms and businesses that will add value in the world. So it was, how can I say, without being too daunting, it was a task that I didn't know all that was ahead. I just knew in my gut, I knew in my spirit that I wanted to do more, that I wanted to create more, that I wanted to just be in a space that I wasn't allowing other people to pull my strings, but I was moving according to the speed of purpose and moving according to the divine assignment. So I had to work and get some experience, yes, in corporate America, but I was so miserable in my various iterations of working and being on a job where my brilliance really couldn't be quantified. And, you know, a paycheck doesn't really say what it is that I have to give the world. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know if I can do this forever. Like, I feel another tugging on my heart to do more, to create more, and people around me that were gaining dollar signs for less input and work was frustrating. And I did not want to be in a situation where my time card or the amount of time that I put in dictated what I could earn. But it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I'm grateful that I had a lot of people around me who believed in me in those moments when I wasn't sure if I was believing in myself, because it's so hard to step out on faith. It's so hard to believe that you can do something outside of the norm, something different. And you have to have the right support systems that can see that picture for you when you can't see it and be able to hold that space for you. So I was fortunate that I had that kind of support as I ventured into unknown territory. And one of the things, Dr. Geneva, in the development of starting a business and wanting to be in business was not taking some very sage advice early on, was to get coaching, because I let my hubris get in the way. I let my ego get in the way that, oh, I can do this. I can figure it out. I can build the best mousetrap, but not understanding that there's a certain level of knowing that you don't know until you know that you don't know. And being able to get the right sort of wise counsel, coaching, mentorship that could eventually move you faster if you were able to take in that information. And I waited too long to get that additional support. So it complicated my ability to excel and accelerate in business, but nothing happens by accident. Everything happens for a reason. And I know that it all works together for good. But for those in your audience who are feeling that tugging and that desire to move forward with transferring their skills maybe from a corporate job into a consultancy or a business or planning, take the time to invest in getting the coaching, the paid learning, because a lot of times we want the freebies, we want the homie hookup. But people have learned like you, Dr. Geneva. You've done the work. You've put out the time, the effort, the finances, the resources so that you can provide value to others. So let's not discount the brilliance that other people have when we go to seek knowledge and to learn. But if I could say anything, part of taking action is taking very concise and intentional actions to invest in yourself, invest in where you want to go, invest in what you are giving birth to, so that you can really stake your place in the ground and say, I'm here, I have value to offer, and I've gotten the information, resources, and support system that will sustain my longevity in bringing value to the world.
So, yes, that's, when you talk about your journey, I find that so fascinating. This, in corporate America, as a corporate leader, and I believe you were, with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals and in the district attorney's office in the Bronx, and vice president of various organizations, and then you made that transition into entrepreneurship, which is, that's a heavy piece there. And one of the things that you talk about is taking that action. to make that move, what are some of the other strategies or tips you can share with us as you make a transition like that? And some of our listeners who are at turning points and making transition, how do you take action? How do you decide what action to take?
Yeah, and that is a great question, and it's one that we would be here talking about for about a month straight if I was to get it all out. But if I could truncate it down into a few sound bites that your audience can really move forward with, one of the first things is having an honest conversation with yourself, right? Because there are times where we might want to do things, we might desire to be in industries or mimic or emulate someone else that we see, but it's having that honest conversation with yourself. Are you at the point in the position where you're able to take that leap? Are you in a position where you've saved up finances and resources to kind of cover you through the developmental stage? Because there is going to be a point where you're growing and building capacity for something new that you're not going to necessarily have an overflow of cash. And some people are fortunate that they take that big lump and put it aside and they can save it up. And some people just lunge in without knowing, and just be prepared that whatever you decide to do, there's going to be a reaction. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So have the honest conversation with yourself that if I'm going to go into a new venture, into a new opportunity to transfer my skills, to quit a job, to start a business, to open up a community center, to purchase a piece of real estate, there are going to be some sacrifices that come along with it. And how well equipped am I to be able to put in the extra time, resources, grit, and grind to really get myself in a position where I can sustain my lifestyle, I can sustain my current bills and what I need to do in order to keep my house running or keep my life running. And those of you who are married with children, of course, you have to consult your spouse and what's the impact on your family. Having that honest conversation can help you realize, are you ready to do it now? Or are you ready to write a plan so that you can prepare in sequential steps how you're going to get to your goal? So it doesn't mean you have to give up your goal or you don't pursue your goal, but having that honest conversation with yourself can say, I'm ready to do it now, or I'm ready to do it with a plan of 6 months. I'm ready to do it with a plan of 12 years. And these are the things that I need to put in place to ensure that I can accelerate my growth and development. And sometimes we skip over that conversation. We just jump straight to the end of the board like Monopoly. Just do it.
What did you say, like Monopoly, huh?
Like Monopoly, like, do that fast go, do that correct $200. Like, you're just jumping over on the end of the board. And
that's right.
The thing is, we make these situations for ourselves, and then we're like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm choking, I'm hemorrhaging. But if we did not take the time to have that honest conversation, we really can't evaluate and create some benchmarks of where we need to be and how we measure our success. It's not impossible. Nobody that has built an empire or a business just did it and it just happened overnight.
Right.
It didn't. Right, Dr. Geneva? You've had your growing pains. You've done your part to be able to claim the global stance that you have as an influencer, as a speaker, trainer, all the things that you do. It was a result of your learning curve. But if you had to look back, and I would challenge any business owner that had a certain level of success, if you could retrace your steps and look at, did I start with that honest conversation? Did I really measure where I wanted to go and how I wanted to get there and put the resources and the tools in place so that I can do that? So that's number one. I don't know if that makes sense to you, Dr. Geneva, but that's number one.
Oh, I love it. Having that, as you say, that, that honest conversation, that real, having a frank talk with yourself. But I also heard you say, you have the conversation, and based upon that conversation, you also assess what your next moves should be.
Absolutely. Because you need to put a plan in place. And most people get stuck, Dr. Geneva, because they don't have a plan. They really
So is that number two, have a plan?
That is number two.
Okay.
Have a plan and take consistent action. So not just having a plan, because some of us can write down goals forever.com.
Yes.
And we never implement it.
Yes.
So we have to be able to not only write the plan, but write the plan with the intention of consistent action. That's my little secret when it comes to how you're able to really position yourself for success. It's consistent action over a period of time yields maximum results. That's my little formula. Consistent action over a period of time equals maximum results. So when you set that plan, you have to be able to now move consistently towards that goal. I meet a lot of people, and I'm sure you two do as well, Dr. Geneva, that say, oh, you know, I want to write a book. Oh, you know, I want to start a real estate company. Oh, you know, I've always wanted to open a school. I wanted to start my own restaurant. And then you say, well, what have you done? And it's cricket, because they haven't done anything towards that goal. If you want to write a book, have you at least written down some ideas on your outline? Have you at least written down some thoughts that can help you arrange what kind of book it will be? If it's a self-help, if it's an autobiography, or what kind of book? What action are you taking that supports the fact that you have a goal? What action are you taking?
What are
that's
you
going to
doing?
lead you?
Right.
Yeah.
So
because if
what
you're
are you
not
doing?
Anything,
Right.
Your plan can't work.
Right.
It can't work zero.
Yes. Oh, that's so true. You know, what are you doing to get there? Yeah, what pieces? And you know what, I just love that, Dr. Stacie, and you know, that consistent action over a period of time equals maximum result. And that's so simple, and I just love the use of the formula that you have, and I think you're right. And as part of that too, Dr. Stacie, that you don't have to do everything all at once. I mean, can you take tiny steps, like do something every day, or do you think that you have to, you know, take, you know, huge leaps immediately? How does that work in terms of the action steps that you take?
Oh, I love that question. So you're setting yourself up for frustration and a delayed progress if you try to do it all in one day. What's the old adage say? Rome wasn't built in a day. So I'm not a proponent of trying to get it all done in one fell swoop. I believe in small, incremental steps that are manageable and that can keep you building traction. That's what consistent action does. It builds traction. You start to see that you are moving towards your goal. Your mind starts to connect with the moves that you're making, and you're not suffering from any misalignment, or what they would say in the academia is cognitive dissonance. You are moving together with your goal because you can see yourself accomplishing one thing inch by inch, right? Isn't there one of the children's books, Inch by Inch, Anything's a Cinch?
Yes,
So if you do it inch by inch, if you are moving towards your goal consistently, it means, okay, today I just brainstorm. I just write down 5 to 10 pages of what's on my heart and mind. What is it that I want to share? I'm just using a book as an example.
Yes.
And then the next day, you might record some things because you're figuring out, do I write better or do I speak my story better? And then the next day, you're like, okay, which one do I like more? Let me just commit to writing 20 or 15 minutes a day so that I can get my thoughts and my words out. And then maybe the next day, it's let me do a little research. Who can I work with that might be able to help me edit this copy? And who do I know maybe the next week that you can focus on ideas around a book cover? So every day you're doing a little bit. And if you look up after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, you have a completed project.
Yes.
But if we're trying to complete the project in one night, we're going to get frustrated. We're going to get disappointed because real life happens.
Stressed out.
Exactly. And who wants to do that, Dr. Denise?
I know that's right.
I particularly like to have fun.
Yeah, right.
And if it's not fun,
That's right.
I'm not doing it.
You know,
So,
Dr. Stacie, I love it. I love how you breaking it down for us, you know, and you're so right. I try to do this 30-minute thing, and I use my Apple Watch, And the Apple Watch has a timer on it. Okay, so I use my Apple Watch, and I'll do a 30-minute block. I like 30-minute blocks. Don't ask me why, but I like 30-minute blocks. And there is some research, I think, that says, after a certain amount of time, your mind kicks in, your focus, accelerates, etc. So it gives it some time to kick in as well as get some things. But I will assign these 30-minute blocks to, like if it were a book, like when I was writing my book, and it just a day. And so just what you're saying, I would do 30 minutes a day, and those 30 minutes add up. And like I said, I would use my timer so that I'd put in 30 minutes, and it would keep me focused. And then when the alarm went off, most of the times I was not only shocked by about how the time flew by, but also when I looked at what I had done, the concentration of my focus was so intense that I was getting results. And after a while, I got, according to your formula, maximum results because I got my book published.
Absolutely. So there is proof in the pudding right there, right? If you do it, you get the result. It's not rocket science. And I'm not the first person to say this to somebody that's listening because they've heard it before, but they needed confirmation because they're still sitting around waiting for one of the things that I share in my book, which is my second life lesson. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting started so you have something to perfect. How can you get to that point if you're sitting around waiting for everything to line up? That's not how life is. And I use an example that the same brand that you just mentioned that's named after an apple, they go on and release products all the time that are not perfect, that there are certain pieces that have to have certain resets, or they send out patches and updates. And if they can release a product that is not perfect, what are we sitting on our goals and our dreams for because it's not exactly the way we want it? You aim for excellence in everything that you do, but if you've gotten it to the point where that baby can walk, let it start walking. And then if you have to dust off the knees because it falls a few times, that's okay. It'll eventually stand up straight and start moving on its own, but it'll never get there without you taking that next step. So after you have your honest conversation with yourself, you make that plan and you take consistent action over a period of time so you can get the maximum results. And then that little side note is my life lesson. It's not about being perfect. It's about getting started so you have something to perfect. And then create a mantra for yourself. Create something that will help recalibrate and reset you on those days when you are having a challenge. Because we all have those days where we question, well, why I'm doing this again?
So tell me,
did I get the right memo?
Yeah. So say a little bit more about this. Create a mantra. Can you give us an example?
Absolutely. The example is my book, and it's become a battle cry. The title of it is Action, Action, Despite the Distraction. That came out of my spirit at a moment when I was talking to a girlfriend at a conference. I was getting ready to go on stage, and she said, "Girl, how you doing?" I said, "Child, I'm just taking action, action, despite the distraction." Dr. Geneva, I didn't know where that came from. That was straight the Holy Spirit just laid that in my heart, and I said it. She jumped, I jumped, and I said, "Is that the title of the book, Lord?" Because I've been working through what I was going to release, and I said, "That's the title." And he helped me develop the pieces of those 7 life lessons that I share. But that mantra shakes every retarded demon out there that would try to stop you from moving to the mountaintop of completion. Because when you holler, action, action, despite the distraction, all of that falls off of you. And you're like, wait, let me get back on point. Let me get back in alignment with what I'm here to do. I know distractions will come. I know toxic people will try to steal my joy. I know there are moments where fear will try to creep up. I know there are situations that I need to get in order because God can't bless mess. But I'm not going to let those distractions stop me from taking action because I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a reason. There are people depending on me, and I'm going to keep taking action, despite the distraction.
Ooh, yes, talking sister. Oh, my goodness. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness, Dr. Stacie. These lessons, this honest conversation with yourself, have a plan, take consistent action, maximum results. Not wait to be perfect. Just get started so that you have something to perfect. Oh my gosh. And then create the mantra. Listen to this, these tips, these strategies. So, anyone listening to you would come to the clear conclusion that, and where we started in the beginning, that how you ignite people, how you inspire, and you have that boundless energy, how to get action and not get stuck. Oh my goodness. So Dr. Stacie, if you were to be able to wave your magic wand, if you had a magic wand and you can wave it, okay, and you'd be able to influence young leaders, okay, by waving your magic wand, what would you have that magic wand do?
Oh, wow. It's so funny that you asked me that question because I'm a huge Broadway and Disney fan, so there are times when I feel I am a magical character. And I'm secretly playing with my magic wand.
Uh-huh.
But if I had that magic wand, I would want to sprinkle over everyone this ability to inhale power in moving from the valley of procrastination to the mountaintop of completion, not waiting for anybody else's approval, but for them to realize the innate gifts and talent that God has already placed inside of them, that when they release it to the world, that becomes their superpower. And we start to spread light, love, and value exponentially throughout the world.
Honey, give you a magic wand. I want it, and I want to be in the room when you be sprinkling that dust. So, Dr. Stacie, we're winding down in our conversation, but I want to ask you. So, talk a little bit with me about legacy, and combine it with, what's the next chapter for you, and where does legacy, leaving a legacy, fit in your next moves?
Dr. Geneva, I'm going to need you to get out of my head. Because that is at the cornerstone of my work. I stand on the legacy of faith that my grandmother left myself and my family. She passed away December 15, 2015. And it still seems like yesterday. And I thank God that we had her 98 years on the planet. So what a huge blessing. And my grandmother gave birth to 7 children. She raised another 3 to 5. But I call myself number 8 because I was fortunate to be able to be at her feet, and my grandfather and my great-grandmother. Longevity has been a blessing on my maternal side. And watching her stand in her faith, watching her unapologetically share the love she has for Christ and trusting that he would do what he said he would do no matter how long it took, has been something that has not only inspired me, but has allowed me to understand one great, huge, important fact in my life, Dr. Geneva, and that is that I am the beneficiary of every prayer that she prayed. The prayers that she prayed before I hit this planet, the prayers that she prayed that she would know what her future generations would bring. And as a result of that, I launched my book in her honor. I did a legacy dinner. I started a whole faithpreneur movement in her honor, standing on that legacy and laying the groundwork for the future generations to carry it forward. Everything that she dreamt and couldn't do, that I can take the baton and move down the road a little further and hand it off to the next generation, that she will never, ever be forgotten. And the legacy of faith that we can't do anything by ourselves but for the grace of God that allows us to be able to share the brilliance, the talent that we've been given in the global marketplace. And to be able to now own Faithpreneur, not only as a trademark, but as this mantle that God has given me to help faith-based entrepreneurs develop their business that are growing and using revenue, resources, and relationships for long-term stability, and my faith-based professionals looking to add another stream of income to their personal economy and transfer their skills from the marketplace to the global marketplace. And I'm just excited that legacy and the work that I've been given to shepherd is such an honor. I truly am grateful that I get to meet people like you, Dr. Geneva, and your audience that are really working towards being a great value in the world and understanding that when we stand, when we speak, when we serve, when we produce, it is giving honor to those who came before us, whose shoulders we stand on, and whose benefits we are able to realize because of the sacrifices that they made ahead of our existence on this planet. So legacy is not a joke to me. It's what I live and what I breathe. And every time I get to open my mouth and speak, I know I'm giving honor to God first, and I'm giving honor to the legacy of Colonel Agatha Roden, who was my maternal grandmother.
Dr. Stacie, leading, teaching, and inspiring. Yeah, girl, you got it all. So for those who want to get in touch with you, who want to hear more, who want to, get some of that sprinkle dust, how can someone get in touch with you?
Well, I thank you for that opportunity, and I truly, once again, am honored that we've had this conversation, and I look forward to supporting what you're doing in the world, and we can collaborate on some great things, because I just love what you stand for and how you stand for those who need a voice. And if people want to continue to connect with me, they can actually get the first chapter of my book for free for being a listener here on this broadcast. And you can go to actionbook.com. That's actionbook.com. And there you can download it. You can figure out, well, is this something that I would like to read, or was this help me in any way? You can test it out. Everybody likes to take a test. So Ignite to Impact, you can go on and test it out at actionbook.com, download the first chapter, and then decide if this is a value and benefit to you. And then you can follow my Faithpreneur movement for those who say, wait, what'd she say? What's that thing? Faithpreneur. And if that is you, you can just go to Faithpreneur Weekend and check out a little bit more about the movement that we're creating, and really looking to link arms and aims with other collaborative, faith-driven organizations and individuals that we can unapologetically stand up in our faith and not be afraid to have conversations about finances and faith in the same sentence, and how we build global structures that give honor to God and help His people all around the world.
Phenomenal. Dr. Stacie N.C. Grant. Oh, yes. Action, despite the distraction. One of the many tips that Dr. Stacie gave us, create that mantra so that you can say it over and over. And when you think about her, what should come to your head is, some of the insight that she gave us about how to take action and not get stuck. Yes, she's got some great solutions, great answers. But in terms of listening to her, she walks that with you. I hear that, Dr. Stacie. You're right there with faith-based entrepreneurs and others who want to walk together, want to find someone collectively that they can relate to, speak to, and take a journey with. And back to that advice that you gave about transitioning from one point to another, in your case, from corporate leader to entrepreneur, or those who are doing that, is to get some great advice from people who've been there. And you clearly have been there, and I am so glad that you've been here with me as my guest on Ignite to Impact. Love you, and I hope we can continue the conversation and maybe even do some collaboration around some stuff together.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. We are now connected,
All
and
right.
you can't get rid of me. At least you
Okay.
say, when we're younger, you can't quit me now, Dr. Geneva.
Okay, well, back at you. And love it. Love the conversation. Dr. Stacie N.C. Grant, thank you for being a part of Ignite to Impact. And to my listeners, let me just send you all kinds of love, hope, and hope you've been inspired. I know I have been. And remember that you can always unleash your influence. The question is, are you going to make a difference? Are you going to use it to create positive impact? Remember the conversation with Dr. Stacie and others, and subscribe and give me a 5-star rating. We'll see you back again.
Ignite to Impact.